Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. I think you see a lot of headlines that look a little like this. Ripple says sales of XRP cryptocurrency grew 31% in Q1. I want to take a look at that report in a little more detail. So on the Ripple Insights page, you'll find that the Q1 2019 XRP Market Report is broken down into some different segments. So the sales overall, they amounted to 169 million. But they break down into institutional direct sales, which mostly goes to the partners, and the programmatic sales. So you can see here 61 million to the institutional direct sales, which are the partners, up over from 40 million in the last quarter of 2018. And then the programmatic sales were up from 88 million to 107 million. These total sales of 169 million account for just 0.32% of all the global XRP volume. So in that Q1 period of time, the global XRP volume was 53 billion. So it's very, very small amount. Now, if you're wondering what a programmatic sale is, I have a thread for you that I will put down in the description below, and it is on Reddit, and it is nonetheless from David Schwartz, aka Joel Katz here. The thread is so interesting. So let me just explain to you that the programmatic sales are not on the open market, and they usually come with a lockup or some other requirement. And if I read from some of his thread here, you can see that this is done by third parties that Ripple employs, and they use agreed algorithms to execute the sales, usually by market making that is based in favor of a net sale. Ripple does not have direct control over these sales and cannot adjust their timing on a short-term basis. So the sales preference is approximately 20 basis points or 0.2%. So aside from raising revenue from Ripple in a way that reduces the opportunity for manipulations, this also improves the XRP liquidity and tightens XRP spreads on those exchanges. So this is a very good thread. It has a little bit more information should you want to explore, and it will have a link down in the description below. So back to the market report, you can also see that there is a breakdown of the escrow. In Q1, 3 billion XRP were again released, and we know that 1 billion is coming out of escrow every month. And additionally, 2.3 billion of that XRP was actually returned back into new escrow contracts. So the remaining 700 million that stayed out will not be returned to escrow and is being used for a variety of ways to help support the XRP ecosystem. If you go to the site maintained by Leonidas, he's a really great XRP community member. He has the XRParcade, and here you can see the XRP in escrow. This is a list of all the Ripple's XRP in escrow with ending dates. So far, 14 escrows have ended, 1 billion each, and the total amount of XRP in escrow has been reduced by 3 billion XRP so far, and that is an average of 214 million per month. So at this rate, it'll take 242 months or 20 years and 2 months for the last escrow to finish, and that is April 2039. So the rate is expected actually to increase dramatically with the utility and adoption. So these numbers are rough, but it does give you an indication as to how long the escrow will run. So because it's such a minuscule amount of the total volume, news like this that came out today is really important. So IrisX is testing its new crypto exchange, and TD Ameritrade is one firm looking to link up with this market. So this is for the retail investor, and this is the kind of trading that we really want to see done. And it all goes back to actually October 2018 when Ameritrade invested in IrisX. They are a cryptocurrency exchange that hired serial exchange founder Matt Trudeau, chief strategy officer. He's very famous in the industry. And at that time, they raised $27 million. So not only did TD Ameritrade invest, but so did Bitmain, Fidelity Investment, NASDAQ Ventures, and the Monex Group from Japan. So TD Ameritrade has 11 million retail clients, and they are looking to offer this digital exchange and asset trading on their platform. This is very big news. So I think this is the type of exchange with this built-in client base that will make a big difference moving forward for price and demand. And if I can show you Brad Kime's website just in a few hours from now, he is also going to address price with the former Ripple employee Bob Way. And Bob is doing an amazing job at communicating to the XRP community, and also doing an amazing job collecting people in the XRP community from around the world. So as a matter of fact, he is putting together this study group, and so far he has more than 20 countries covered. He has people that are going to participate from the Netherlands, Australia, New York, UK, Mexico, Africa, France, Japan, Canada, Serbia, Israel, Denmark, Armenia, Germany, South Korea, Brazil. He has some people that speak Polish and Italian, and people also living in Costa Rica and India. So this is going to be one of those changing moments in the XRP ecosphere that will provide the education and the means to get insight on this digital asset and the company Ripple like we've never had before. So there are approximately 50 people so far that have signed up and registered on Bob's XRP chat board. And so I think 80 people, I think, responded to his request to start this study group. And so far, I just see about 50 have actually completed the introduction. I'm sure it's going to grow a little bit from where it is today, but I am really seriously looking forward to the information that we're all going to receive and then be able to share with everybody. So Brad today, in just a few hours from now, is going to discuss that price issue with him. In fact, he spent almost 3 hours talking to Bob to get prepared for this interview. So I think it's going to be very, very good. Okay, there is more big news. So SBI Holdings from Japan made a huge investment, $15 million today for this company Tangem. Now, this is the second time he has come to the table with money, but this amount is really a serious amount. It is a smart card wallet. It creates a crypto banknote that's used for payments. And the founder, or the person behind this, is actually the former UBS Moscow head, and his name is Anselm Schmucki, and he takes the know-how of the Swiss financial world and the know-how of Russian IT expertise and has created this product. Now, why is this big? It has actually a backside story that I think is huge. The Marshall Islands, they are creating their own sovereign digital currency, and they haven't slowed down at all. As a matter of fact, we actually have a current update from them, but it was back in January of this year that they actually did a deal with Tangem to issue its banknotes using these smart cards. So why is this so important? Well, I'm going to take you back to the panel that Brad Garlinghouse was on with Ross Leckow of the IMF, and it's at the 29-minute mark. They took a question from the audience. The question was, do you see the IMF holding crypto assets in the future? And it was kind of very awkward moment, and everybody was silent, actually, for a few moments, because I think Ross didn't really know how to answer this question. And obviously, he was very, very careful. He's part of the legal side of the IMF. And he says, and I quote, in order for that to happen, for crypto assets to be held by the IMF, in order for that to happen under the current legal framework, some country would have to use a crypto asset as its currency. Well, the Marshall Islands is moving towards that, and they are very, very close. So you can see here that back in February, this is where they did the deal with the Tangem company in developing the blockchain smart card, which would work as it would be able to introduce their sovereign digital currency. So it would be the world's first decentralized digital currency in a physical banknote form made by Tangem. So this is really getting some amazing legs. And it was just March 9th that the Israeli company partnered with the Marshall Islands to launch their digital currency. His name is Ben Iser or Ezer. I'm not sure how he says it. I'm so sorry, Ben. I should have researched that before this video, but I know that you are helping them implement the technology as well as helping them with regulatory concerns. And they have a plan as of March 9th to get this digital currency in the hands of people with the Tangem card this year. So that means that a country will have a digital currency, and therefore the IMF will be holding a digital currency as currency. I think this is very, very interesting as it develops. And then I want to just show you here, there is a think tank called T20. They're going to meet in Tokyo on May 26th and 27th. They are preparing for the G20 summit, which takes place in Japan in June. So the International Financial Architecture for Stability and Development for crypto assets and fintech is in their focus. They are going to identify and recommend priorities for policy action. So it just doesn't happen on the day of the summit. There is a lot of preparation and groundwork done prior. The experience that Japan brings to the G20 in terms of regulation for assets is very, very valuable. And they are going to look at how fintech, high tech in the financial ecosystem can coexist in harmony for all. And I think this is, I think it's going to be a really big summit. All right, last, I have an interesting poll done by the Japanese company and exchange called Bitflyer. So Bitflyer was actually founded in Japan in 2014. They are licensed to operate in the EU, and they put out a survey. They got 10,000 respondents back in this poll, and we find that 63% of people believe that crypto will exist in 10 years from now. And maybe, can you guess which country leads that sentiment. It was kind of surprising for me. It turns out to be Norway. So you can see 73% of the belief came from Norway, that cryptocurrencies will still exist in 10 years. And if we come down, followed by Italy, Netherlands, Poland, Spain, Denmark, Germany, Belgium, UK, and France at only 55%. So Norway, wow. Okay, let's jump into the fluff. Well, if you are from Norway, you're one of the lucky countries because Norway has a working holiday visa agreement for people between the age of 18 and 30 to stay in Japan for up to 1 year and work. So when you come here, it's really amazing if you can get a work visa because that is absolutely required. And along with Norway, you can see if you come from Argentina, Australia, Austria, Canada, Czech Republic, Chile, Denmark, it's download. Unfortunately, the United States is not on this list. The UK is there, Taiwan, Spain, Slovakia, Portugal. Yeah, so sorry to say, not the United States. So if you are from the US and you want to come to Japan and work, there is working visas available. And if you fall into one of these categories, you have a very good chance to get it. So you can see that there is a need for professors, even if you're an artist, sometimes for religious activities, if you're a journalist, a business manager, legal accounting service, medical services, a researcher, instructor, engineer. Actually, engineers, I think it's very easy. If you're an IT engineer, I think it's very easy to get that working visa now. There is, even entertainers like musicians, actors, singers, dancers. You can get working visas. Sometimes they're very short, 15 days, but sometimes they're as long as 3 years. So don't worry if you weren't on that list that I just showed you. So I started to think, well, what is it that, I have worked in Japan for a lot of years now, and there's a lot of differences. And I thought it would be fun to share with you some of those differences. One of them is the resume. So on the resumes here, they really want to know what your hobbies are. That is so important to Japanese. I do believe it's because they can get a feel for if you will fit into their company culture. And yes, they do ask you how old you are. So be prepared to know that that is totally legal here in this country. And often photos are requested to be put on your resume. So when you go in for an interview, also don't be surprised if you are in front of a panel, because it's usually done through consensus, as so many decisions are here in Japan, and you'll sit in front of a very large panel of people. Maybe only one person asks you the question, but there'll be, 5 to 10 people who are watching and listening to you answer those questions. But the one great thing is when you do come to Japan, there is a gigantic selection of food at lunchtime for the Japanese workers. And they are not only in the convenience stores and the department stores and restaurants, but they are even on the streets. People set up tables just for that maybe hour or hour and a half period when everybody comes out of the office for lunch. Some people eat those bento boxes in a park, or they bring them back to their office, but they are amazingly yummy and low in price. So if we take a look here, you can see that these range anywhere from $5 to $8 in price. And if you go to one of those tables that are set up just for lunchtime, you can get an amazing boxed lunch for just about $4. It's so yummy. And if your timing is good, in the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes of the lunch hour, these half-price stickers are put on and you can get them for 50% off. This would cost you just about $2. So anyway, you don't even have to work to participate in having a yummy bento lunch when you come to Japan. Definitely get one of these bento boxes. Okay, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.